This is week 2 of the chronic illness experiential activity with type 2 diabetes. This week I had to start implementing medication in different doses each day. We'll start with the questions. How did this change your daily schedule or plans? So the dosage of the medication changed each day, and that was something that definitely required me to be more proactive in planning how much I was going to bring with me, because I usually eat on the go, and planning which meals needed to be the largest meals, because I had to take medication with the largest meals. So it definitely changed. Even just divvying out the correct dosage required more planning. So on top of having to figure out when I was going to work out, divvy out the right portions and track my eating, I had to also make sure that I was taking the medication in the first place and taking the right amount with the correct meal. So that definitely required a lot of planning. And since it changed each day, it got a little confusing. So the second question is, what changes and plans did you have to make in meals? How did you remember to take medication every day? How many doses did you miss? And if so, when did you take them? So the changes in the plans I had to make for my meals was I had to make sure that basically my meals were now centered around the medication I was taking, and that I had to plan my biggest meal around when I wanted to take my medication. So that was a lot to figure out, and with my schedule, sometimes it's not really easy to sit and eat a big meal. I'm pretty much on the go when it's time for me to be eating. So that required a fair bit of change in my meal planning. How did you remember to take your medication every day, and how many doses did you miss? I actually only missed one dose on the second day, and after that I started, I used a timer on my phone, an alarm. So I actually only missed one, which I was pretty proud of, but that one that I did miss, I had to eat a whole nother meal in order to take the medication. So that put off my dietary needs for the day, and that I ate more. So I could see how that would be really complicated, because you're not only trying to decrease your calories, but you're trying to make sure that you're eating enough to where you can take your medication. But once I got the schedule down with my alarm, that helped a lot. But again, each day was supposed to represent a different week, and so I had to change my alarm every day because my dose changed every day. So it was quite a bit of work in that regard. So describe the process of adopting this change in behavior. This was a really new process for me because I've never been prescribed any medication before. I've never had to take a oral antibiotic or anything like that. So even just the act of taking something, that was new for me. I think maybe because it was new, I took it more seriously. But it was definitely a change. And just the act of divvying out the right amount, I constantly had to go and look at the syllabus to make sure that I was on the right schedule. So that was difficult. What successes and struggles did you face in your immediate relationships of family when it came to remembering your medications, eating right, and continuing your exercises? How did they help, and how were they a barrier? So again, I don't have any family involved in this process. So in that regard, it wasn't as complicated in interrupting a meal with my family, or interrupting time spent with them for having to go and exercise. But on the flip side, I don't have anyone to hold me accountable, so I could see how that could be beneficial in continuing this treatment process. And the last question for the week is, in what ways is your work schedule influencing the self-management of your new regiment? My work schedule and school schedule are definitely impacting my ability to self-manage. My exercising definitely dropped off this week. It was a really busy week at school. And again, just my eating habits are irregular in that I'm either eating at work, which is usually in the car because I nanny and I drive the kids everywhere, eating in a parking lot, waiting for baseball practice to start, or basketball or tennis or wherever I am, or on the way to school or at school. So it's definitely, my eating habits aren't what I would say regular, so it's definitely influenced. I have to plan. I really have to plan because I can't just go in my kitchen and make a meal. I have to make it the morning of or the night before, which I'm sure other people have to do as well, but it just has required a lot of planning and has definitely been an obstacle in having enough energy to plan my meals and make my meals and then exercise. So yeah.